Fit to Love, episode 113, Transforming Limiting Beliefs.
Fit to Love is physical, emotional, and spiritual fitness to achieve the happy life you deserve. From exercise to cooking, relationships, and spirituality, you'll find all the inspiration you need right here with our host, JJ Flizanes.
Hello and welcome to Fit to Love Thoughtful Thursdays. Today's show, Transforming Limiting Beliefs. We have with us today Rodger Sorrow, who is a trainer with the Center for Nonviolent Communication, and he's actually one of the trainers who taught me about NVC. So he's a certified trainer for NVC, and this has changed Rodger's life. It gave him a process to understand what was going on inside of him and express it without criticizing, blaming, or making others wrong. NVC, Nonviolent Communication, gave him the tools to differentiate between what was happening and the story he was making up about it. This opened the door to authenticity and accountability as he connected to his feelings and values and became empowered to express his truth openly and vulnerably. At the same time, there was now space inside of him to see and connect with others. Rodger can now hear others and what's alive in their hearts. This process is powerful, and he can support individuals, couples, groups, and organizations to find more connection and make any situation win-win. Go to chooseconnection.com for his current trainings and contact information. Welcome to the show, Rodger.
Thank you, JJ. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited about the call and excited about today's topic.
Me too. Transforming limiting beliefs is a really hot topic. And besides that, this is the first call that we're doing on nonviolent communication. So before we get into this exact topic, would you speak a little bit about your experience, your training, your learning, and then just nonviolent communication in general?
Sure, yeah. I got started on this path in about 1996, began studying it, and by 98, I was sharing it with other people and then became certified. And 2001, at that point in time, I was the district executive for the Boy Scouts of America, and I quit the day job to do this full time. And so I've been sharing nonviolent communication now since 2001. So that, 14 years now, up and down the coast here in California, Southern California, back and forth across the country, up into Canada, and of course, in sharing lots reaching into lots of other countries via the internet. So I'm passionate about it because it's really a calling for me. It's just made such a big difference for me, and I'm wanting to share that with other folks. So nonviolent communication, I think the core component of it is the intention, an intention to create solutions that work for everybody, to co-create solutions. The intention to find the win-win so that everybody's needs that's involved can prosper and thrive. And so if you get nothing else out of this call today, if you just got that, the intention to co-create the win-win, that will transform any situation, any conversation that you're in. When I'm as committed to finding a strategy that works for the other person as I am committed to my own. When we have that intention, then the magic happens.
I first learned about nonviolent communication years ago, and I wasn't so sure about the title, to be quite honest, because I didn't identify myself as a violent communicator. But I read the book and listened to the CD and got a lot out of it and had looked for some trainings and some teachings. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I found Rodger and went up to one of his trainings and obviously took this information and felt like this was a secret that no one knew about, because I've always believed in win-win situations. And I know that conflict resolution is not something that's really commonly taught. It's more power struggle. And so this really outlines what's really going on and nonviolent communication and these teachings. And I'm so happy to have you to help share that with others. So let's get into our topic today. Let's start with what is a limiting belief?
Thanks for asking. A limiting belief, the simple version of it's some type of perpetual thought pattern that we have in which we degrade ourselves or others or life, such as like I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough, etc. A more technical definition would be limiting beliefs are basic habitual unconscious thought structures through which we experience life. They tend to be limiting, repetitive, self-perpetuating thought patterns that direct our choices and perceptions. And so there's tons of examples, that we're all real familiar with. Some of them are about ourselves, like I'm fat, I'm sensitive. For other people, like people are out to get me, or just life in general. Life sucks, or the world's unsafe. Or scarcity thinking, like I'll never be good enough, I'm not good enough, there's never enough money or space or love. Or deficiency, I'm weak, I'm powerless, people don't care, people don't treat each other, people do treat each other badly. So these are, there's lots of examples of these, and typically they have been something that we have adopted or taken on early in life, typically from an authority figure. Perhaps something has been said to us by a teacher or a coach or a parent. Perhaps we've done something that they didn't enjoy, and then they tell us that, well, you're never going to get this, or you're just not smart enough for this. Yeah, some message like that, and we've taken it in and believed it to be true.
Let's make this. Is it possible to make it a little bit more personal? Is there anything you'd be willing to share about some of the things that maybe you overcame, or students of yours, or friends or family?
Oh, you bet.
Great. So go ahead and give us an example of before nonviolent communication, and then some of those limiting beliefs that got transformed.
So what I'd like to do, JJ, is share this process of transforming these beliefs and I'll use an example of my own to make it more personal and more perhaps authentic and real and alive for folks. So the first step would be to identify a limiting belief that you want to work with, okay? And if you have trouble finding one, just think of the last time you were really upset, and what were you thinking? I'm predicting there'll be a limiting core belief in there. For me, the core belief that I'm going to choose to work with today is about sex, because let's see, I was raised in the church, and let's see, I came away with the core belief that sex is so bad that we cannot even talk about it. So that's the belief. And then the first step in the transforming process, let me remind folks that, or I haven't even told you yet, that I'm going to be taking you through a worksheet, and it's available as a free download from my website, chooseconnection.com. Just go to the resources tab and you'll find it. So the first step is, after we've identified a belief that we want to work with, is to really get present to what is the impact this message has on your life, and identify as many things as you can, physically, emotionally, relationships with self and others, and what values of yours are impacted by holding this belief, and what of these values, which is the core one. So again, the belief here that I'm holding is sex is so bad we can't even talk about it. And so the way that impacted me was a lot of guilt and shame and feeling shut down and unable to express myself, a lot of embarrassment, not being able to talk about a part of life that is really precious and beautiful and sacred and alive and juicy, and not be able to even talk about that. So the way it impacted me was less connection to myself. It impacted me in relationship, because I'm not able to talk about sex, about what works and what doesn't work, or is this working for you, and what works or what doesn't work. So it made lovemaking much more limited and restricted. And so that's really the word that resonates the most, is restriction. How much more restriction physically I do, my body would tighten up. And so the value of mine that's really impacted here is, where the loss is in freedom of self-expression. Self-expression, to be able to express myself about an area of life that is really important. So that's the first step, okay? Then the second step would be, what would my life look like if I didn't have this belief? Now, this worksheet that I've created, it's a combination of nonviolent communication. It was created by Marshall Rosenberg. It also incorporates Byron's Katie process called the work, so it parallels it in many ways. And it also incorporates the work of Robert Gonzalez, another teacher of nonviolent communication. I just want to acknowledge those people, as all of them are sources that I'm drawing upon when I created this worksheet. So again, the second step is, what would your life be like if you didn't hold the belief? And just like before, and all the different areas of life. So if I didn't have that belief of, sex is so bad you can't talk about it, well, first of all, I'd be able to talk about sex, and there'd be so much more connection then with other people. And there would be so much more self-acceptance, as I'm not judging myself, that this part of me that I'm in, which there's so much passion and aliveness and beauty, that I'm not judging that part of me as so bad I can't even talk about it. So there's more self-acceptance, and that's huge. And so then there's more inner peace. And then from that place, then There's empowerment from, I'm able to express in what's going on for me, what's alive in me. And I'm also more present into what's going on and what's alive in others. And so it certainly makes my sex life better. Life in the bedroom gets a lot better because I'm able to talk about what works for me, what doesn't work for me. I'm able to express myself. I'm able to make requests for what I would like. Also able to hear my partner, and I'm able to actually communicate and have a dialogue, a conversation about what's working for my partner and what doesn't work. And so we can co-create then lovemaking that is really wonderful for both of us. I've loved asking my partner in those situations, is there anything I could do that would make life more wonderful for you? And she just smiled. It was so sweet to hear that question, and to be able to have a conversation about what we're doing when we're doing it. So again, the core needs here for me are self-acceptance and then self-expression would be the needs that are the most important, and more connection with others. So life is absolutely more wonderful if I don't hold that belief. And so then the third step, so that was two, there's about 5 steps in this process. The third one is connecting with the living energy of the core need. And that's kind of nonviolent communication language, living energy of the core need. So when we talk about values or needs in nonviolent communication, this is what motivates everything that we do. And all human beings have the same needs. We all need freedom and peace and love and sex and meaning and purpose in our lives and safety and etc. Those needs are universal. What's different is the strategies that we use to meet those needs. What I want to offer is an understanding that these needs or values actually represent a living energy that flows through us. And I'm wanting to connect with that energy as opposed to just the thoughts about it, the ideas about it. So an example in this situation, self-acceptance, or the core need really probably being a full self-expression.
Rodger, can we stop for a second about for those of you that aren't driving, I would recommend and encourage you to visit Rodger's website, chooseconnection.com. There is a free download that's a list called Feelings and Needs. And I think that is one of the most powerful tools that you could have on hand at all times. One of the things I love about nonviolent communication is it's a very simple process of becoming aware and identifying and having a vocabulary for how you're feeling, number one. And then, especially in my belief, if you have a negative feeling, it's because a need is not being met. So then to look at the needs list and identify, well, what need is not being met that's evoking this feeling. And then now we have a whole vocabulary and language about needs, and not needy, not you being dependent or needy. There's sometimes a negative connotation to needs. These are basic human needs that Rodger just listed. So that's the basis of nonviolent communication. And now we're taking the other worksheet that Rodger's working with and created for us today to look at the transforming limiting beliefs. So I download that one and print it out and also work with that as well. So let's go back to you were on step number 3, Rodger?
Step number 3. Thanks, JJ. Yeah, because there's a whole list of documents and resources that are free that you can download there, tools that will support learning nonviolent communication. And this being the first time that this has been offered on your show, and we've really jumped into a very intermediate skill level topic using nonviolent communication. The basic stuff is available as free downloads, and so I encourage you to check that out. Yes, we're on step number 3 of transforming limiting beliefs, and it's about connecting with the energy of those needs. And so the need here that's alive for me is full self-expression. And what I want to do is I want to think about, I want to include what my thoughts are about full self-expression. I also want to take a look at, what my experience with full self-expression is. I want to draw upon that, and mostly I want to take a look at what's in my heart. What is the felt sense that I have in my heart about full self-expression. And so for me, it's really about freedom and being able to be seen and contribute and to give. And in order to do that, I want to be in full self-expression. And so there's not a need that's more important to me. There's others that are equally important, but that's when we step into our power, is when we're in full self-expression and speaking from the heart. And it involves vulnerability and honesty. And for me, that's really empowering. So from that place, then I want to come up with a new belief to replace this old one. The old one being, in my case here, sex is so bad you can't even talk about it. I want to replace that with a new belief that's just as true or even more true than that one. And what's more true for me now is that I really enjoy talking about sex. Yeah, it's fun. Sex is fun, but I really enjoy hearing people's experience. I don't want to make other people uncomfortable. I want to encourage other people to speak up. And so my new belief is I enjoy talking about sex. And so step number 4 is then name 3 experiences that confirm this transformed belief is already true in your life. And so that's easy for me because one, I teach a class called Let's Talk Sex. And I've been doing that now for a number of years, both through internet classes as well as workshops in person. And so I've done a number of those, and one of them up in we were up in Canada in Vancouver, and it was a 2-day weekend retreat, and perhaps the most powerful workshop training that I ever offered or attended. It was just really profound, the healing that took place there for folks, and so as well as it's like I've already indicated, the difference that it's made in the bedroom for me. It's just being able to talk about your feelings and what works and what doesn't work. When something's uncomfortable, to be able to no, it doesn't. To be able to speak up and say and express that, no, that doesn't work. How about we do this? Or maybe that doesn't work right now. Maybe later or another time. Or before I want to go there, I wanting there to be more connection between us. I notice that I'm holding some stuff that I want to clear before I'm wanting to be physically intimate. Again, all of those are experiences that confirm that this new belief that I enjoy talking about sex is true for me. And then the last step here is there a request or an action step, a request of myself or somebody else, an action step that I want to take about this? And so, I've got a teleclass coming up in the near future that I want to promote.
So I know that this probably for a lot of people was, like you said, it was an intermediate training of nonviolent communication. And obviously maybe there's a need for us to go back and do a very basic training of nonviolent communication and figure out what the title of that would be for those who are unaware of nonviolent communication, so we can introduce this work into a broader section of the world and all the people that are downloading this podcast show. But I know that there are some steps, some simple things that people can start to do in learning it. Both, like you said, there's free downloads that you have and information. And I want to hear all about that and have you give people those resources and those simple things that they can start doing now. But before we get to that, we do need to take a moment to thank our sponsors. If you are like most people who struggle with overeating, you may feel powerless over your habits and urges to eat. Powerless over what and how much you eat. Break the vicious cycle of emotional eating and take back your power over food with Dr. Lisa Gelper. Dr. Lisa Gelper has helped thousands discover their own power over food and help them to win freedom from the obsession and defeat that haunt yo-yo dieters, emotional eaters, and those who just hope to lose some weight. Visit her site at poweroverfood.com to read her articles, watch her videos, sign up for her monthly email tips, and check out her current classes. Again, that's poweroverfood.com. What does your self-care routine have to do with dating and relationships? Everything. How you treat yourself is the blueprint for how you show others how to treat you. I call this your body blueprint. Ready to change your body blueprint and manifest better quality relationships and physical results? During the month of February, I am giving away free copies of the second edition of Fit to Love, How to Get Physically, Emotionally, and Spiritually Fit to Attract the Love of Your Life, when you subscribe to this podcast. Visit fittolove.tv/ebook to download your copy today. That's FIT2LOVE.tv/ebook. Let's transform your body and your relationships. Okay, Rodger, so I want to transform my limiting beliefs. We've gone through a limiting belief about sex and the 5-point list that you have for us on a worksheet on your website, chooseconnection.com, that I can take and go through this. What else besides this wonderful worksheet that you've created for us, and I'm recommending everyone download the emotion and needs list. I think it's so important and powerful to teach yourself and your kids how to have a vocabulary about what's going on inside of you, your emotions, and identifying them, and then also what needs aren't being met that are invoking these feelings. So, Rodger, what else can people do right now? You talk about your classes, but any other downloads or action steps that people can take to help them with transforming limiting
You
beliefs?
bet. This is something that I've done for years and I continue to do. And that's that it's each day taking some time to write down what my judgments are, what my statements that, criticisms and judgments of self and others are, moralistic types of judgments. You talked earlier about, what is nonviolent communication, and what often offers some clarity around what is nonviolent communication is to take a look at what is violent communication. So violent communication is all the judgments and things like all the shoulds and all the blaming and guilt trips, and that type of language leads to disconnection. And nonviolent communication is about creating connection where people enjoy giving to each other, connection where people want to find the win-win. And what gets in the way is the violent communication, the judgments, the shoulds, the have-tos, who deserves to be punished, who deserves to be rewarded. All that type of thinking and language leads to disconnection. So what Marshall Rosenberg taught us is that judgments are the tragic expression of unmet needs. And so needs or values are being expressed through judgment. Unfortunately, the judgments are not very likely to get those needs met. The tip for the listener would be to, at some time during the day, either the beginning or the end, maybe the end, make a list of the judgments that you noticed yourself using, as well as judgments that you heard other people. And then take just as many as you have time for. Take a judgment and translate it to what is the value that's being expressed there. Let me give you an example. Somebody doesn't like what I'm saying, and so they say to me, Rodger, that was a very disrespectful thing for you to say. So that's a judgment, okay? But the person is expressing a very important need. And so at the end of the day, oh yeah, I told Rodger he was disrespectful, okay? So what is my value that's really important to me behind that? And it would be respect. What I'm wanting is respect. But what I'm focused on is what I don't want. And wherever we focus, that's what we're going to get more of, right? So what we're wanting to do is to be able to translate those before they come out of our mouth. So that's the goal, okay? So that the next time I'm inspired to say, well, that's disrespectful, instead of that coming out, I could express myself differently. Like, I'm wanting, and I heard what you said, and I'm worried and scared because respect is really important to me. And so to be able to express what our values are in that way.
Okay, great. So now let's go to all the other resources that you have. Why don't you tell us about some of the classes that you do and have some of the free downloads that we could obtain right now to help us transform limiting beliefs?
Great. So there's lots of juicy stuff coming up. I have this teleclass series, Let's Talk Sex. And then, then there's a class on anger. But all of these, there's, you just go to my website and take a look at my training schedule, and you can see the fun things that are coming up. I do want to make a special mention of the NVC conference. That's an annual event, and the 8th annual NVC conference is happening April 18th and 19th of 2015. And this is a one-of-a-kind of event. It's the largest gathering of folks interested in nonviolent communication on the planet that I know of. We have 500-600 people attending each year. I bring in 15 trainers from around the planet, the best of the best, and they're offering done conference style. So there's a dozen different classes being offered simultaneously, and this thing goes all day Saturday and all day Sunday. Gosh, it is a bargain at $60 for the entire weekend, and we're going to feed you lunch too. So that's something you don't want to miss, but it is dated. And then we typically do it once a year. And then the other big thing, of course, is on my website you can sign up for my newsletter, and there's some videos, and as well as there's handouts. And a lot of those that are specific to the basics of nonviolent communication. I've also put up some stuff, especially for couples. One that I really like is called Connection Time, some activities that couples can do using nonviolent communication to nurture their relationship. So lots of good stuff there.
Excellent. And we're going to have you back again for another show about what you don't know about your enemy. So if you enjoyed today's show and you're interested in learning more about how to use nonviolent communication in your life to create more connection and feel more joy and expression and love and all the wonderful things to get ourselves out of our own way, I definitely encourage you to check back on the show schedule and see when Rodger's going to be featured again. Rodger, thank you so much for being here today.
JT, thanks. It was really a pleasure. Always fun, and I look forward to coming back. Thank you.
Do you want to learn more about your hormone health and how to get it properly tested? Then sign up for our Healthy Hormone Kit at nourishingwellness.com. This kit features healthy eating and lifestyle tips to help you heal your hormones naturally. The Fit to Love podcast show offers you 6 days a week of helpful content to achieve the happy life you deserve. Movement Mondays and Tasty Tuesdays are weekly video casts, while Wellness Wednesdays, Thoughtful Thursdays, Freedom Fridays, and Sexy Saturdays are audio-only shows themed every week to address your holistic life and needs. If the show inspired you, we would love for you to share it and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us today. Head on over to fittolove.tv for recaps of every show, resources, and to join the community. That's FIT, the number 2, LOVE.tv. Have a fit and fabulous day.